At different times in my life, I have stepped back from a situation and made the statement, this is all wrong. In those moments, it's easy to give into fear and discouragement. As you look at your life right now, you maybe are stepping back from a situation saying, this is all wrong. If you can identify one area in your life where you would make that statement, our reading today is specifically for you. It comes from Acts 16:25 through 40. The title, From Crisis to Christian, Worshiping in the Wrong. As Paul and Silas are going through Macedonia, they're sharing the good news of Jesus with other people. At one point, there is a female fortune teller who is a slave, and her slave owners make a whole lot of money from her telling the future. The reason she's able to do it is because she's possessed by a demon. Well, eventually, this fortune teller sees Paul and Silas. She says, "These men are servants of the Most High God, who are telling you the way to be saved." She's doing this over and over and over until Paul gets so frustrated he turns around and rebukes the demon, and the demon leaves the girl. Now, she's done bothering them, but their problems have just started. The slave girl's owners are frustrated because they realize, oh, we've lost our income now. As a result, they're frustrated. They grab Paul and Silas with a crowd. They strip them. They are beaten. They're flogged. And on top of it, then thrown into prison. Now, if I was in Paul and Silas's situation, I'd be stepping back saying, wow, this is all wrong. But then we read in verse 25. About midnight, Paul and Silas were, here it is, singing and praying hymns to God. And the other prisoners were listening to them. In their worst moment, they are worshiping. They are worshiping to God, but they are also being a witness to the people around them of what to do when the worst happens. What happens next is an earthquake strikes the jail. And the jailer's getting ready to kill himself because he believes everyone has escaped. But Paul tells him, don't kill yourself. We are all still here. Then in verse 30, the jailer asks this question, what must I do to be saved? As a result, the jailer and his entire household are saved. Now, if we go back to our reading earlier in chapter 16, remember, Paul and Silas were going around trying to get into certain areas, but the Spirit of God said, not here, not here. He closed doors. But eventually they had a vision. Paul received a vision from God of a man in Macedonia saying, you need to come and help us. The man in that vision was represented by this jailer. Now put all of it together. God gave them a vision of a man that needed to experience the good news of Jesus. But in order for the vision to be fulfilled, they had to go through a hard time, which led them to the prison, eventually the earthquake. But the turning point in the entire story is when they were worshiping in the worst conditions. Friends, I don't know what you're facing. I'm sure there's something that you say, this is all wrong. My encouragement for you today, worship in the midst of the wrong and watch what God gets ready to do. Thank you for joining me. Never forget, you are loved to love others.